So we will begin our class on the Ishavasya-Upanishad with a prayer to Saraswati. Om Shuklam Brahma Vichara Parama Madhyam Jagat Vyapinim Veena Pustakadharinim Abhayatam Jadyandhakarapaham Haste Spatikamalikam Vidadhatim Padmasane Samsthitam Vandetam Parameshwarim Bhagavatim Buddhipradam Sharadam. As announced earlier, this is quite a difficult text, and I will open it and share it with you. Okay, and we will keep both for those who are able to read Devanagari and for those who are not so good at Devanagari. We will keep both next to each other. So we are going to go step by step, word by word. And for some who are not used to this way of approach, it is perhaps a little strenuous, but it can be very enjoyable also. Here we have the first word, of course, which is Om. Om begins every Upanishad, or every mantra of the Vedas is said to begin with Om. Om is the primordial sound. It is the sound of totality, of wholeness. Itidam sarvam. The Mandukya Upanishad says that it is everything, to absolute totality. That means there is nothing that is not included in Om. And the next word is Isha, and as announced, this is a interactive class. So this is very informal. I will call up people to ask, to state what is the case. So maybe I can ask George Gumara, if you like, or if you know, and no one is obligated to answer. If you don't wish to answer, you can just stay quiet. So what
I think,
yes?
I think it's nominative, feminine.
That's a good idea, but it is actually not. It is the third case of a very short word known as eat or ish. Ish would be the root and eat would be the nominative case. So Isha is the third case, the instrumental case. And here you can see how Shankaracharya's commentary works. If you look below, either are the two texts visible to all? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So if you look below is already the commentary of Shankaracharya. And I also wanted to show you a little bit how a commentary works. The first word here simply repeats the word of the Upanishad, and the rest then explains that. So here he says Isha, and explains that Isha means Ishte. Ishte is like Vandate. It is Atmanepada, and comes from the root Ish, which means to rule. So he says Ishte iti. Isha, Ishte iti, eat. The one who rules or the one who governs is known as eat. Tena, third case, Isha, by that that eat or ish. So now, George, knowing this, how would you translate Isha?
Through the ruler.
Through the ruler, by the ruler. Very good. The third case always has the sense of by or through. Then we have the next word, vasyam. There are two words here, vasyam and idam. Vasyam. So maybe I can call up Sri Vidya. Would you like to try?
Yes, right.
Yes.
Vasya is covered.
Don't jump to the meaning. Try first to explain the.
So Vasyam idam, that's is that neuter nominative, idam Vasyam.
Yes.
All this, no, sarvam.
That comes afterwards. That comes afterwards.
So Vasyam idam, they're agreeing the nominative, this.
Yes.
And
then grammatically, vasyam. Any idea?
The case is.
No, not the case. Grammatically, what kind of word is it?
A participle?
It is a participle. It is what is known as a kind of future participle, but has nothing to do with the future, in my opinion. It is like the word karyam. So we have the root kri, which means to do, and then we have the suffix yam added to that, and it becomes karyam, something that is to be done. And similarly, here the root is vas, and then it becomes vasyam. Do you know any words that contain the root vas?
Vastra.
Vastra, exactly. And what does vastra mean?
That's a garment.
A garment. So vasyam here has the sense of to put on like a garment, to clothe. And vasyam means is to be clothed. Like karyam means is to be done. Vasyam means is to be clothed, is to be like dressed or embedded, clothed. It's very beautiful poetry, very ancient. Wonderful. And then we have idam sarvam. And then we will go to the commentary. We won't do the whole mantra right away. We will go step by step to the commentary. So maybe someone who is a little bit a beginner, maybe Trusharji, if you want to try idam sarvam, it should be quite easy.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Acharyaji. Idam sarvam yaktim cha.
No, just the two words, idam sarvam. Just these two words. What do you think it means?
It means everyone, like sarvam means like all encompassing.
Exactly.
And idam means maybe like here, like in one place.
Idam means this. Idam means this.
This. Okay, thank you. This is everyone.
So now we have the basic sentence. Of course, there will be some more details. The basic sentence is Ishavasyam idam sarvam. And maybe I can call up Ilavati. I don't know if you were there at the beginning already.
I'm here now, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. How would you translate this Isha? Were you here when we covered Isha?
Yes, to begin, the rule as Isha, yeah. Ishvara.
Ishvara, yes. So Ishvarena or Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. How would you translate this basic sentence?
Oh, wow. Isha is instrumental. That's why it's not nominative, and that's why I'm confused. It would be easier if it's nominatives.
Yes.
Idam,
maybe we can turn the sentence around. Idam sarvam Isha Vasyam.
Also idam is 2-1.
No, it's 1-1.
1-1. Aha.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe you have to supply the verb asti. Idam sarvam Ishavasyam asti.
Also everyone
Or everything, maybe
or
everything.
everything is everything is covered. Can I say like covered?
Yes.
Everything is
Yes.
covered by
Yes.
the ruler.
Wonderful.
Yeah, everything is covered by the ruler.
Just one little addition. It is
Mhm.
better here to say everything is to be covered, because this is the participle known as the so-called the future participle, but it is not future. It is more meant in German, we would say, all dies ist mit dem Herrn zu bedecken.
Mhm.
All this is to be covered with Isha. So now who is this Isha? We go back to the commentary of Sri Shankaracharya. He explains Isha as, you can see below, Ishita Parameshvara Paramatma Sarvasya. And maybe I can request Gauri to analyze this for us.
I don't have this text. I have just this what I see here, but the commentary I don't see it.
The screen I'm sharing, is it visible to everyone?
Yes.
There are two texts.
Yeah.
Yes. So above you see the mantra, and
Mhm.
below is the commentary.
Oh, okay. This is the commentary.
So the two lines above are the mantra, and the rest is the commentary.
Okay.
So Gauri, you see Ishita
Ishita.
Parameshvara Paramatma Sarvasya.
So Ishita, I'm not able to find. Is it referring to Isha?
Again to Ish, to the
Ish.
root.
Root, yeah.
And it is like grammatically, it is like karta. So
Okay.
the stem would be kartri.
Kartru. So
Kartri,
ishtu,
ishitri.
ishitri.
And we
Okay.
use the suffix tri, we use to express agency, the one who does something. So for example, if we have the root or the word bhoga, to enjoy, the root is bhuj, then it becomes bhoktri, which becomes bhokta in the 1-1, if you look at your charts. So bhokta would be the enjoyer or the experiencer. Here we have ishita.
So ishistri, like bhokta, it will be ishita. So it's
Ishita.
1-1.
It is 1-1.
1-1. Mhm. So Parameshwaraha Paramatma Sarvasya.
Yes.
So Parameshwara is 1-1.
Yes.
Paramatma is again also 1-1.
Yes.
And Sarvasya is 6-1.
Correct.
So Paramatma, Parameshwar is everywhere. So
No. Don't guess the meaning. Go very literally. Now this is a new level of Sanskrit, right? This is the Lord Adi Shankaracharya, and here we have to learn to supply the word asti. Whenever there is no verb, this is very important information. When there's no verb, we have to supply the verb asti. So Ishita Parameshvara Paramatma Sarvasya asti.
So Ishita is one who does something.
The rulership.
Ruler.
Yes.
Parameshwara, the ruler, Parameshwara, God.
Yes.
Paramatma is again referring to God. This is Paramatma. So
careful, not param, but if you analyze the sandhi,
Parama,
Parama, very important to get the sandhi right. Yes.
Yeah, Parama Atma. So divine soul or
supreme. I would translate as supreme.
Supreme soul is everywhere.
Careful, Sarvasya is not everywhere, but
Sarvasya is Sarva is again. I will just find the literal meaning.
Everything.
Everything. So
Sarvam means totality, everything.
totality, everything. So ruler, Parameshwar or God, or divine soul or supreme soul is everything.
No, not is everything. That would be sarvam asti. But
Okay,
this is
so
sarvasya. What case is sarvasya?
Is 6-1, so it's belonging to of everything.
So the ruler, the Supreme Lord, is the Paramatma of everything.
No, the Supreme Lord is Paramatma of everything.
Is the Supreme Atma of everything. And you see, Atma is not so easy to translate. We announced in the pamphlet that we would talk a little bit about also the philosophical aspects. Many people, they translate Atma as self or soul. It's a little difficult because it's not wrong, because we can also see that in ancient Greek, which is related to Sanskrit, derived from the same mother language, we can see that the same word has something to do with self. For example, the word automobile. In the word automobile, you have A-U-T-O, and this comes from the Greek auton, which is related to Sanskrit atma. And an automobile is something that runs by itself. So there's something to do with self. Or an auto-generated means self-generated, right? So we can see that even thousands of years after Greek, ancient Greek came along, there's still this sense of self. So yes, it has something to do with oneself. But when we say the self, then there's a strange meaning. Why? I mean, there can be a strange association. Why? Because after all, in English, the word self is also related to selfish. Whereas Sanskrit, Atma, is never related to selfish. So we have to be a little careful with language. I like to translate it often as the supreme nature, the supreme true nature of everything, the true essence, the true way of being. Yes, so let's be careful when we use the word self and soul, knowing that the words, the English words, don't capture the full meaning. They only indicate the meaning. Okay, so now we have the next explanation. How? The question is, how is he the ruler? Above, Shankaracharya explained Ish as Ishte, the one who rules. So now he continues that and says, Sahi sarvam ishte. Sahi sarvam ishte, sarva jantunam atma san pratyagatmataya. Now, please, everyone, don't be scared. This looks like very complicated. We will go word by word. I'm not sure about the newcomers, but maybe, because I don't know your level exactly, but maybe Rameshji, I remember from the class, you were quite good at grammar. So if you look at Sahi Sarvam Ishte.
Sahi Sarvam.
Do you have any idea what Sa here means?
Sorry, which Sahi? I found it. Sa means with, isn't it?
No, Sa is Saha. Saha means he.
Saha, yeah, he.
Saha means he.
Yeah.
And then the second word, he, is a particle that is used when something is explained. Because, we can translate it as because Sahi, because he, and what does he do? Sarvam ishte. How will you translate that?
He rules everything.
Wonderful. Excellent, Rameshji. Thank you. Because he rules everything. Then we have the next part. Sarva Jantunam Atma San. Just we go word by word. Sarva Jantunam. Who would like to try? Because I'm not sure about the level of everyone.
Acharyaji, I might give it a go.
Please go. Yeah.
Sarva being everyone.
Yes.
Jantu being, and I'm going to be very bad and translate it in Gujarati, like being species.
Species, yes, and we like to translate it as creatures. Creatures, but yes, that's good. I can see how in Gujarati Jantu becomes species. That's a good one. And then the case, do you have an idea? Jantu Nam.
And then Jantu Nam, like the names?
No. This is the case. The case here is the genitive plural. So it means of all creatures.
Of all creatures, genitive plural case.
And then Atma.
Like the soul, the Atma.
The soul, yeah, we can go with soul or we can go with true nature. So Sahi Sarvam Ishte, because he rules everything, as the self of all beings, of all creatures, or as the soul, now I also said self, as the true nature, as the true essence of everything. Thank you, Trusharji. And now we have a word that I will help you all with, and this will come again and again in Shankaracharya's commentary. It is the word sun. And sun is the masculine of sat. And sat here is the participle from asti, to be, and it means being, like the English word being. So sun simply means being, seiend in German. See how close, sun, seiend. German and English are also closely related. So sun just means being. Sahi sarvam ishte, because he rules everything, being the Atma of all creatures. And how so? Pratyagatmataya. So maybe here, Srividya, would you like to try this?
All right. So pratyagya atma.
No. Analyze the compound very carefully.
So further it will be prati.
No, pratyak.
Pratyak. Pratyag atma.
Pratyak means inward, the inner.
Right. So it is pratyag atma.
Pratyak atmataya.
Atmataya, yes. Well, it's from Atma. And then
I'll help you. It's the first you have to think, what's the case?
also instrumental? Or?
It's instrumental, exactly. It's the third case.
Yeah. So atmata, is it atmata?
Correct. It is atmata is the word. Pratyag atmata.
Right. So the inner atma.
Through the state of the atma, of the inner atma.
Yes.
So how will you translate this Very high level, but try.
It is repeating, like he's already said.
Yes.
The essence of all. He rules everything as the essence of everything.
Yes.
And then being the inner essence through
the
being
state of the inner Atma, through the state of the inner Atma, the inwardmost essence.
Yes.
Why is this said here? Because you see, the word Atma, surprisingly, has also been used in scriptures and texts in different senses. Atma can sometimes also mean the mind. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. Through oneself, one should raise up the Atma. So there, Atma doesn't mean the innermost essence or self or soul. There it means the mind. And in some texts, Atma can even mean the body, really. There are texts in the Vedas especially, where it says, Punar ma'atma punarayuragat. May my body, and there Atma means body, may the body gain long life. Because it makes no sense to say, may my soul gain long life, since the soul is anyway immortal. So here, this pratyagatmataya is added to indicate that the Ishvara is not just he's not the body of all of us. He's not the mind of all of us, but he's the innermost essence of all of us. That which is immortal, that which doesn't pass away, which is known as the Pratyag Atma, the true self. I like to translate like that. Whereas everything else passes away. The body passes away, the mind passes away, our thoughts, our feelings, our character passes away, even our personalities, they don't stay. So what stays? The innermost essence. So now, the next explanation is Tena Svena Rupena Atmana Isha Vasyam Achadaniyam. Quite simple. Maybe Ilavati, you can try this.
Yes. Tena Svena Rupena Atmana Ishavasyam Achadanyam. And then Kim. It also belongs to this.
That's the next sentence. That's the next sentence. Kim. Yeah.
Okay. Tena Svena is 3-1.
Yep.
Rupena also. Rupena Atmana is 3-1.
Yep.
Then Ishra is 3-1.
Yep.
Vasyam 2-1.
We had before. Actually, it is 1-1.
Okay. 1-1. And Achadanyam 2-1.
Also 1-1.
Also 1-1. Okay.
Yes.
So Rupena Atmanam is the form of the Atma. Rupa is the form.
Not of the Atma, but
Through the form.
through that, we can say form or nature also.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And do you understand Svena?
No.
Svena is, but the case, you said it is 3-1.
Yes.
It is this. So if you know the case, then what is the word?
Through the.
And what's the word? Because if you know the case, then you know the word, right? Because you can, like, if you know Ramena is the third case, then you know it is from Rama. So similarly, here we have Svena is from which word? I think you're overthinking. It's just the word Sva.
Sva means the self, isn't it?
And Sva again means one's own. So Svena Rupena. Maybe you have heard the word Svarupa.
Yes, Svarupa.
So here we have the same word, Svena Rupena. He could have also written Svarupena, which means one's own true nature. So tena svena rupena atmana. So how will you translate?
Through one's own true nature. We have Vasyam is to cover, to clothe.
Clothe, yes.
Clothe, the ruler.
With Isha.
With Isha, also with
The Lord, or however we want to translate.
Yeah. And what's the meaning from Achadanyam?
Achadaniyam is an explanation of Vasyam. And Achadaniyam, if you look it up in the dictionary for the newcomers, let me just explain something about the dictionary that we use, which some months ago, or even a little longer, was pointed out to me. An excellent Sanskrit dictionary, very easy to use. I will post it into the chat. Here. So we use this dictionary, and let us see if I have to share my screen again so you can see also. Yeah. So if you see here, and we put in Achadaniyam, and then maybe not the full Achadaniyam is there, but it will give us Achadanam. And then we can see again, that means clothing. And then Achadaniyam is like Karyam. Similarly, it's like Karaniyam. So there are three suffixes that have a similar function. Karyam, Karaniyam, so yam, iyam, and tavyam, kartavyam. And here Achadaniyam has the sense of also to be clothed. So Shankaracharya is simply repeating the meaning of Vasyam for us to understand how Vasyam is used. Yes?
Okay.
So how would you translate? I think you already translated. So Tena svena rupena, by that own true nature, the Atma, the Lord, it is to be clothed, it is to be maybe achadaniyam, it is to be covered. Chadar, we still say chadar in Hindi, and surprisingly also in Persian, Farsi, chadar also means a cloth with which we embed ourselves, with which we clothe ourselves. And yes, so I have just realized, I think, that we are not, are we just checking something? Oh, yes, no, it's all good, sorry. Yes, you can see, okay. So he's saying everything is to be clothed, everything is to be embedded with that own true nature. What true nature? The pratyagatmataya, that which rules everything by being the Atma of all creatures, being, or through the condition of being their innermost self, not an outer self, not an outer identity, their innermost self. Now he asks, Kim. Kim means what? So what is to be covered? What is to be clothed? Here we have completed only 1/4 of the mantra so far. So now we come back to the mantra on top, and here it says Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. So this is maybe something for Gauri. Yat Kincha, I will help you. With Kincha, I will help you.
Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat.
With Kincha, I will help you. Kincha is like Kimapi, whatever. It means whatever. Jo bhi in Hindi. Jo bhi, whatever. And Yat, so Yat Kincha, whatever.
Whatever. Jagatyam. Is it Jagatyam? I'm not able to identify the root or the form directly. Is it comes from Jagat? Jagatyam, the root?
it is, think, okay, no problem, you don't know the word exactly, but you can know the stem of the word first. Sorry, you can know the case of the word, the vibhakti.
Jagatyam. So is it is the root is the same as Jagat? So
No, it's not
no,
Jagat.
no,
It's not Jagat.
It's not Jagat.
But this tyam ending, I'll help you. It is like devyam.
Yeah. So okay, now I'm a bit.
It's 7-1, just 7-1.
Yeah,
So the
7-1.
word is Jagathi.
Okay.
And Jagathi is a synonym of Jagat. But here you will see how beautiful the Upanishad, this ancient rishi, the language he has used. Jagatyam means 7-1 of Jagati. Jagati means the universe. And so Jagatyam means?
Jagatyam is in the universe.
In the universe. And then we have again Jagat.
Jagat.
And here Jagat is used in a very literal way as the participle. Jagat is that which is moving, the moving. So yat kincha jagatyam jagat. How would you translate?
Whatever is moving in the universe.
Fantastic. So now we have this beautiful sentence, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. How will you translate the whole? Yeah, please.
Because Jagat is to move, moving, and
Yes.
Jagat is also the universe. So how is this related to each other?
It is like this, that this formula, the moving, at a later point in Sanskrit came to mean simply, it's like a summarizing, everything that's moving. It came to mean the all, the world, or the universe, because it's always moving. There's nothing in this universe that's not moving constantly, right? Even science tells us that this universe is constant movement of energy. So Jagat came to be a synonym for universe, even though very literally it means the moving, that which moves.
Okay, thank you so much.
So idam sarvam, all this, Ishavasyam, is to be clothed with the Lord. And Shankaracharya explained that the Lord is the innermost essence of all creatures, whatever is moving in the universe. We still have some time. I hope that you are enjoying this, everyone, because I do understand it is quite intense. It's very detailed, right? We're going so literally, but for me, it has always been a very immersive experience that when we go so detailed into every word, it is almost like a sadhana. It is like a sadhana of jnana. Jnana yajna, Shri Krishna calls this. It is a yajna of knowledge. So when we go word by word, step by step, it is like we are realizing, or we're tasting a little bit the meaning of what is actually described here. So we go back to the commentary. He said, so Kim, so what is to be covered? And he's just repeating what is written in the mantra. You can see now a little bit how this commentary works. Idam sarvam, we all understand all this. Yatkincha, he explains as yatkinchit, whatever. Jagatyam, he explains as prithivya. Prithivyam, Ilavati, how will you translate?
Prithvi is the earth.
Yes.
And so whatever is moving on the earth.
Yes. That's
and
right.
This is now Jagatyam is 7-1 and Prithivyam is also 7-1. So everything is located on the earth, everything was moving, Jagat. Here we have it again.
That's right.
Und that sarvam, it's also, this is all.
That all, exactly.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So like that, he explained this part of the mantra very, just very simply, not in a difficult way. Then he continues, Svena Atmana Ishena Pratyagatmataya Aham Eva Idam Sarvam Iti Paramartha Satya Rupena Andritam Idam Sarvam Characharam Achadaniyam Paramatmana. Very long sentence, but you know most of the words, I think. So, Srividya, would you like to try? You've already done Pratyagatmataya before. So, Svena Atmana, by one's own Atman, by one's own true self, Ishena, by the Lord, Pratyagatmataya, through the condition of being the innermost essence. Then you can continue, Srividya.
Aham evedam. So that's aham eva idam sarvam iti. It is said that I am.
Not it is said, just through the iti marks that something is being like cited or something is being highlighted. Aham eva idam sarvam. How would you translate aham eva idam sarvam?
So I am indeed everything.
Yes, I am indeed everything. Through this iti, this is the realization. I am indeed everything. How? Not as my body, not as my mind, not as my emotions, but as the innermost essence, the innermost pratyak atma. And then maybe Kumara, George, you could try Paramartha Satya Rupena Andritamedam Sarvam.
Sure. Paramartha is the kind of ultimate knowledge. Paramartha. Satya, Satyam is truth. Rupena, by the form, by being.
Yes. And here, if you think of Paramartha Satya and then Samvriti Satya,
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Is it by the ultimate truth?
Yes, so Paramartha is the ultimate, Paramartha, that which has the ultimate object.
Sure. And is the next word Anritam?
Andritam.
Anritam. I don't know what that means. I guess Nrita sounds like it's to do with dance, like
Oh,
Nrityam.
interesting. But this is not Nrita, this is Anritam, Anritam. And Anritam is a synonym of Asatyam.
Okay, so misperception, false knowledge.
Is we can say untruth, untrue.
Idam, this, sarvam, everything.
Yes.
So
Again,
through
right?
I think it's saying through the ultimate truth, ultimate reality, there is the untruth or the illusion, implicity.
So the untruth, the untruth means that which is only that which is everything which is moving, and also
Changing.
the unmoving and changing, we can say, which is moving and changing. That is the untruth, and that untruth is to be covered with the truth, with the supreme truth or the form of the supreme truth, which is the Lord, through the realization, I am all this. And then the sentence is not complete yet, just characharam achadaniyam paramatmana. So we have Ilavati, would you like to try? Characharam.
Characharam achadanyam. Also again, to cloth, to cover.
Yes.
And characharam, I don't understand the word.
But the sandhi, if you take apart the sandhi.
Chara acharam.
Yes, that's right. And chara, charati, any idea from the verb? Like go, charati, or?
Charity. So now I found in dictionary there are many meanings.
Sure, yes.
The verb is to walk, to behave, to gaze off, to go about, beginning.
Yes, to go about, to go about.
To go about.
To move, to go about. So then chara is again the moving, or that which walks about, such as animals and humans and also birds. And then achara.
Achara is to perform.
No, that would be achara. No, this is achara. So chara and achara. We often find these together.
Also the chara is to walk. Also this is this like
those which walk, and then those which do not walk, such as trees. Trees don't walk. Maybe they move a little bit with their roots, but they don't walk, right? So achara.
So everything was moving and not moving has to be covered.
Correct. Through what? Through the realization of
Paramatma, through the realization of the supreme nature, or the supreme soul.
Wonderful, exactly. Excellent. So we have covered so far half of the mantra, and everyone, don't be too overwhelmed. The Ishavasya-Upanishad has only 18 mantras. So that means there is a conclusion in sight. I had promised that I would also share a little bit the perspectives of other acharyas. So Ranga Ramanuja, I will not go now word by word. I will just explain a little bit that he says, Jagathi, the universe mentioned here, also includes other lokas, other worlds. It doesn't only mean this world. It means lokantara upalakshanam. It means all the worlds, whatever exists. And then I'm actually translating from the Sanskrit. It is always fascinating how close Ranga Ramanuja and Shankaracharya, how they are almost the same in their interpretation. And so he quotes a text that says there is the one Narayana, there's the one indwelling. Narayana is the one who indwells the human being or all beings. And before anything existed, neither Brahma existed, nor Isha existed, nor did the sky and the earth exist, nor did the stars exist, nor did Yama exist, nor did fire exist, nor did the moon or the sun exist. Only that one single Narayana existed. And everything else is an expression, or we can say an amsha, he says. Chid amsha is a particle of his consciousness, of his awareness or consciousness. And thus, the whole world being an expression or a manifestation of a particle of his consciousness, when it is realized that it ultimately is rooted in Narayana, then the freedom comes. You will see in the next part of this Upanishad mantra that it will talk about freedom. So he says that one has to establish oneself back in this sarvadhara. Sarvadhara means in this base of all things, this ground or base of all things. One has to establish oneself back in that in order to gain freedom. Yes, so this is a very beautiful presentation, and I will not overwhelm you all too much, but does anyone have any questions? So now Devikaji asks, you mentioned that the commentary refers to the ruler as he. Is it the same in the original mantras? Yes, but it is very interesting, good question, but it is very interesting that in Sanskrit, you see gender particles in Sanskrit are not so rigid as in English. And we will in fact see this, that in the mantra 4, surprisingly, the word is no longer masculine, but becomes neuter. So that ultimate reality is suddenly addressed in the neuter. Anejat ekam, the one, is not ekaha, but ekam. It is suddenly addressed in the neuter. And then in the 5th mantra, it is also in the neuter. Tad ejati, tad nejati, tad dure. So it's all in the neuter. And then it's a description of the sage's realization. And then in the 8th mantra, it again switches to he. So it's very interesting also in the Katha Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, we find suddenly it's switching to a feminine also. Aditir Devatamayi. Suddenly it talks about Aditi, the unbound mother of all. So it is not, this Upanishadic world is not so gender rigid as our modern world. So if you are more, inclined towards the feminine expression of the divine Radha or Devi or Tripura Sundari, then that is absolutely no problem to supply a she, if you like. Philosophically, it makes no difference here. Any further questions?
Acharya-ji.
Yes.
I've just got a question. It's just based on what I'm reading here. It might not be correct, but it's using the word universe as sort of representing like the Ishavasyam, like a kind of the entire universe. But it kind of assumes that then there's no creation outside of the universe. Like, is this sort of mean like when you say entire, it's sort of referencing space and time, but does that mean there's a realm? There could be a realm outside, and there's not Hari or there's not the God, whatever, outside of all of that as well.
That is exactly what Rangaramanuja has addressed in his commentary, where he says that Jagathi here, the word Jagathi does not refer only to this world here, but the entire, all worlds, lokantara, also the other worlds, all lokas, anything that is part of this moving, constantly moving. So in each loka, you will see that everything is constantly moving. Everything is constantly subject to change and transience. So it's a good question, Tusharji. And the ancient, you can see our great commentators, they have anticipated your question and therefore said, no, it includes everything, that even whatever is invisible to you, in all the lokas, whatever can be, he says, Rangaramanuja says, whatever can be bhoktri bhogya rupam. That means whatever can take the form of something that is experienced by an experiencer.
Okay, thank you. I've got one more question. Sorry, Acharya, leading on to it might be a bit obvious question that just needed some clarification. Like, so this is kind of like the rishis, the sort of quest or trying to vocalize the concept of divinity or Brahman in words is that the kind of essence of this or even Upanishads in general? And it's that kind of like they've realized Brahman and they're trying to explain to the rest of the world what Brahman is, basically. Is that, I know it might sound like an obvious question, but like I just want, yeah.
Yeah, so your question is more about how does an Upanishad, what is the purpose of an Upanishad? Or how does, so the Vedas are, the four Vedas are separated into four parts, but all the four parts are always known as Veda. The first part is known as the Samhita, that is the Mula, the basic text. Then there is what is known as Brahmana texts. Brahmana texts, it doesn't specifically refer to Brahmins as we know today. Brahmana in that context means very ancient commentary-like additions to the Veda. So Brahma in that context means the Veda, and Brahmana is something that refers to Brahma, in that context, the Veda. So these are very ancient additions to the Vedic Samhita, just the basic mantras, additions that allow us to understand them a little deeper. For instance, I'm sure you know the famous Yopam Pushpam Veda Pushpavan Prajavan. That is from a Brahmana text. And then we have the Aranyaka text. Aranyaka texts are like the Shatapatha Brahmana is a Brahmana text. And then we have the Aitareya Aranyaka. Aranyaka texts are even more esoteric. So it is almost like the Veda is sort of the outer basic text that is inspiring and makes people have devotion and makes people, connects people to the divine. The Brahmana text goes a little deeper and explains the more subtle connections also to our inner being, how, for instance, the outer moon is linked with our mind. And then we have the Aranyaka text, which is even more esoteric, and talk about meditation and about prana and apana and the life breaths. That's the subject of the Aranyakas. What we did at our retreat, you can say, working with inner pranic processes, that is the subject of the Aranyakas. And then now the Upanishad. The Upanishads are that which are those texts that are about the absolute innermost. They are only about our understanding our absolute true nature. Not about, there's very little ritualistic, very little outer things in the Upanishads. Even the divinity, the deity is only seen always as our innermost Atma. Like the Gita also says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam, hrit deshe arjuna tishtati, the Lord of all beings exists in the heart. Right? So that is Upanishad level teaching, which is about the innermost aspect of our existence. Yes, so this is very immersive. It is very step by step. But after passing through an Upanishad with the commentary, one gains a deep sense of peace and a deeper understanding. All right, so let us conclude here. And this will be every 2 weeks. It will be exactly same level what we have done now. So everyone, very intense, but you will learn a lot about Sanskrit, about compounds. Next will be on the 2nd of June. Right? And yes, before we conclude, we have a WhatsApp group known as the Sanskrita Partha WhatsApp group. If you like, you can join that. Yes, 2nd of July, you are asking. Yes, 2nd of July in 2 weeks. So if you want to join the WhatsApp group, this is just for information purposes. You can send your number to this number, and then we will add you to the WhatsApp group. It's only for information. It's just this is the new date or this is the time. All right, so it will be same link, same time on the 2nd of July. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.